So it was a very silly and very small mistake. What they were expecting is index output like this, right? And I don't know like why this is a big problem, sending index as a 0 like this. It is like breaking all the test cases. So we have to send index as an object, this an object, and when you run this, all the test cases will pass. Rest all the logic is very basic. I mean, we are not doing any rocket science here. It's very plain and very basic setup we have done. All the test cases are passing. We will submit the code. Now we will move to another problem, and which is about the problem 1. This is recipe filter. Okay, so what we are doing here is, this is an ID, this is ingredients, and we are going to filter out the recipes. Okay, examples like this. So shopping list response is 400, IDs is not found, ID 3, IDs 3, then okay, let's read this. Your company is creating new recipe management. The request is recipe management list and IDs. Return the list of all the aggregated ingredients containing the matching IDs in the query parameter. So IDs is like comma separated list of IDs which the ingredients have been aggregated. So let's say this one is the ID 1. So all the ingredients I'm sending back. Okay, so here ID is equal to 3. So for ID is 3, I'm sending the ingredients. Let's see the code. So here is the recipes. So if I pass quantity 1, we just need to respond with the ingredients, like let's say ID 3. ID 3 has these 3 ingredients. Okay, 1 cup, 1 TSP. But why it is showing multiple ingredients? Okay. Yeah, so this is the example when you are passing ID is equal to 3. So example explanation is not there. The routes to fetch all the aggregated ingredients for the matching recipe, the query parameter IDs is mandatory. Server should respond 400 if the query parameter IDs is blank, not present. If none of the IDs passed match with the IDs present in the data store, the server should send the updated 400. Okay. Okay, let's see this. Comma separated list of IDs which the ingredient have to be aggregated. For the IDs that match with any recipe IDs present in the recipe, which is containing the recipe.json, all the non-matching IDs can be ignored entirely from the response. So if I just pass the ID 3, that means I need to aggregate the response of these 3 ingredients. I mean, this is what I think of recipe router, and we can just do is app.get. So we can do is simply router.get. This is the path, and then here we have request and response. Right, and our path is, we are just passing the IDs. So recipe shopping list. So here is our recipe. So the next route is shopping list. So router.get shopping list, right? And here we can get the query parameter const IDs. So IDs will be a string, I guess. So what we can do is request.query.IDs. If none of this is passing, then we will pass as an empty array. Here we already have condition. The query parameter ID is mandatory if this is not found. Response.status 400 and bad request, and here if none of the ID passed in the if none of the IDs passed match with the IDs present in the data store, server should return 400. Got it. So whatever the IDs we are passing, we don't need to worry about if that is a numeric or that is a string. So this is IDs array we are getting. right? That is an id is as an array. Currently this is IDs, so we can just split that. IDs array equal to IDs dot split with the comma, and that will give us the IDs array. And now we can simply loop onto this recipe, and here we can say is ingredient array, and we can run a loop onto this for const recipe of recipes. We will get each and every recipes, and then we'll compare the IDs. And here we will just check if the IDs array dot includes IDs array is there, IDs array dot includes. So first of all, IDs should be array. IDs dot length if equal to 0, then we are sending this. Otherwise, recipe dot includes recipe IDs array dot includes recipe dot ID. So this is our recipe dot JSON. So we just need to check recipe dot ID. If this is there, right? If this is the condition, then ingredient dot push. What we are going to push here is the ingredient of the recipe. Inside recipe.json we can see there is ingredients, so we will just push that item. And how should we do this? Because we just need to push the recipe dot ingredients. So either we can spread them and then do the push, or we can just simply concat them, right? So let's use it as a let. Whatever is in the ing, and we will spread the recipe dot ingredient. Okay, ingredients, we will spread this and we'll combine both of these array into one. So we'll get the ingredient array, and then finally we can check if ing dot length is greater than 0, then do this, else do this response dot status 404 dot send not found. Otherwise we got the results. Response dot send 200, and we got the ingredient array. I'm not sure if it is, we are going to return it in JSON object dot JSON we can say, and we are sending the ingredient array. I know there may be cases where it is going to fail, but let's try to see how it is going to work. We can return this. So okay, this terminal gives us a lot more clear picture. It's better to run these codes locally. Unhandled rejection expected 500 blah blah. So first, should response back with 404 if none of the IDs match. Okay, that is correct. 12, 32, 33. So this is coming as a string array, and that is coming as a number array. So IDs array dot includes response dot id dot string. What should we do? Because IDs array is a string array and we are trying to include the numeric. So should I do it to string? I'd like to do this test. Okay, this was the bug. Looks like in our code. Now if I try to execute npm and test again. Okay, 3 passing. Looks like we have some good news. 3 passing, 1 failing, right? And why this first one is failing? So let's see the test case. I don't know, like we are doing correct. This test case is response.status 400 if we are not passing any IDs. That we are returning response.status.send. I think that is missing, that's why it is complaining. Because until unless we don't send it, it will not pass it, I think. Now I can submit this. Oh man, this is like a lot exercise. I mean, very small things when we are just executing these test cases, which are really like on live programming, you don't do these kind of mistakes. Like when you are trying to do the includes, array.includes, if you're trying to do it with a string array and you're trying to include any numeric, then obviously it will become false. And now I can execute the tests here also. This will pass. And we are good, we will submit it. So we are submitting this on the time. It took a little bit more time, which I didn't expect, but yeah, we were able to get this done. So that